Eli Manning spoof when he goes to Penn
Oh
State.
yeah, the one where he goes to Penn State. Yeah.
It kills me. And like the quarterbacks coach who has no idea that it's Eli Manning is like, where'd you play school? Where was your last where did you last play ball? He goes, I didn't. I was homeschooled. He goes, you get good grades? He goes, well, my mother taught me. My mother coached me. He goes, did you get good grades? He goes, no. Why? She was a tough grader? He goes, no, she's a horrible teacher, but a great coach. What a great line.
Eli's hilarious. He's like so obscure. He has like obscure, like dry humor. It's really funny. There's one of those where Greg Maddux went undercover and he was throwing BP to Chris Bryant. And Chris Bryant's like, this dude's throwing curveballs. Like, what the fuck is he doing?
He's doing like 88 for like batting practice for a commercial.
Speaking of Chris Bryant, what's Chris Bryant doing these days? Just hanging out on the DL?
Collecting his money from the Rockies. That's all he's doing. He's going to be a Rocky for life, and he's not going to win anything. He plays about 80 games a year, and he just collects money. That's what he does. Good for him.
Rough life. He's Anthony Rendon.
Yeah. He's actually trying and enjoying baseball. You guys want to go live, or are we already live? You guys want to go?
Already live.
Start up.
Yeah, fire it away.
Yeah, we're ready to go, but your camera's doo-doo.
Yeah.
Or your internet.
I'm what? My internet sucks. Okay, give me 1 sec. Let me figure that out.
Can barely see your face. Show us your face. We want to see your face.
I've never had problems with my internet until this week.
How about no bags this time? But next time we do the bags right, and then we go a full regalia.
What's that from?
Django Unchained. Django. Why do we have two Dustins? Let's get rid of this one. All right, that's way better.
Yeah.
Better?
All right. Yep. Let's go, Dusty.
You sweater now. All right. Welcome to another episode of Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture. We are here to talk about the first half of Major League Baseball, the Orioles, what we thought about the first half, what we think about what's going to happen maybe in the second half of the year. We'll talk a little bit about the All-Star game. We'll do some second half predictions. We'll talk a little bit about the MLB draft and what's going on in the golf tournament right now, maybe a little bit. Start off just fresh, just because we just watched it. The All-Star game, the American League won 5-3. Corbin Burns pitched a scoreless inning to start the game. Anthony Santander had a hit. None of the other Orioles really did anything of note in the game. What did you guys think about the game itself? And how about those uniforms? They fucking stink.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the best All-Star game out of all the major sports, just because I don't think you really have a choice, because if you don't try, you're going to look like an asshole. So inherently, it's just going to make it a little bit more competitive. But I mean, yeah, uniforms suck. Wish we could go back to, I don't know when they started doing these uniforms. We talked about it on one of the podcasts, but yeah, let's just go back to the individual, like home team, away team, like just the whites and the grays, and just wear these uniforms during the Derby. That was pretty rough. I don't know why that's even a thing. I'm sure money wise, it's probably lucrative for the MLB selling jerseys, but also I thought it was pretty cool seeing Paul Skeens make that start, and going up against some of the best hitters, going up against Judge. We're going to see that later on in the season too. Other than that, I mean, I thought it was good. Baseball definitely has the best All-Star game. I don't think that's even a question. So,
Yeah, not much to add there. You guys basically hit the nail on the head with everything. It was a win for baseball. The only thing that really was a bummer was the uniforms. They were god awful. Like a third grader made them.
Well, maybe the national anthem in the Derby.
Okay, yeah, we gotta get to the Derby and the national anthem.
That's a shame.
It should be all the bars.
We're hoping that the girl, the woman who did the national anthem has reached out to her fans and said that she has checked herself into rehab. She's getting help. Apparently, she was just hammered on stage singing the national anthem. It was pretty bad. I'm really hoping that she gets the help she needs, but it was just not a good look for anybody. If you looked I think there's a video of Alec Boehm floating around on Twitter, like a zoom in on him while the national anthem's going, and he's just sitting there trying not to laugh because it was so awkward. It was just a bad look all the way around. But congratulations to Teoscar Hernandez, and congratulations to Dustin Rothschild, who was the recipient of all of the money from our home run derby pool. And I didn't even know until 2 hours after the derby was over, by the way.
Bullshit. You beat me Merrick and I by 3 feet. And I was standing next to Merrick when that ball hit the wall and for you to win.
The Bobby Witt
We're so mad. Look, I hope she's serious about the rehab stuff. There was some sarcasm in her I guess that was a tweet. Wrong time, wrong place. I mean, look, it's your life. You can do with it what you want. But I'm also going to say this. I don't care that she was hammered. That was still terrible. You can't tell me that every rock star and singer has just been completely dead sober in every concert that's ever happened in our lives. So that was freaking terrible.
Yeah, I want to add and say, I echo that. I just think this is an excuse for how bad it was. Maybe just come out and say, yeah, bad performance. Sorry about it.
Yeah. But, all in all, win for baseball.
Oh, there goes Dustin's internet again.
I'm trying to figure it out, guys. Trying to figure it out.
I got you. A win for baseball. It was a good showing. I'll tell you what. I don't think that park just isn't conducive for home run derby. There's not a lot of. It's not aesthetically pleasing. I'm sure it's a beautiful ballpark to go to a baseball game.
Sure.
But for the home run derby, it just didn't seem like it really fit. I guess you want a ballpark that's got a beautiful scenic scene. You got the Green Monster. Obviously, we're going to be biased with Camden Yards. It just didn't seem like it was the best fit for the Derby. But that's where the All-Star game is. So you're going to do the Derby there.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. It's not my favorite ballpark in the world. I mean, for it being a brand new, I feel like some of these ballparks, even some of the new ones, just don't. They definitely leave something to be desired. That's for sure. What you doing down there, Dustin?
Guys, the internet is no bueno right now, but we're gonna power through.
All right.
I do want to talk about. We didn't
recording from a flip phone.
Good. I have it plugged into my potato router. I do want to talk about, just because we weren't able to on the last pod, about the last week of Orioles baseball, just really quickly. 4 runs in the first 5 games of the week. Not great. But we did get a nice win against the Yankees. Probably shouldn't have happened. Or that's a shame. Earlier in the week was Alex Verdugo. They should put a chalk outline in left field where he was laying down when the ball went 20 feet over his head. But yeah, it was a rough way to end the first half of the season. But what do we think in general about the first half of the season for the Orioles? You guys happy? Are we upset because of all the injuries? What do we think we need to work on moving into the second half? Give us a grade. Yeah.
If you would have told me at the beginning of the season that at the break we'd be 58-38, I would have taken it. I would have been happy. The injuries are a concern. with pitching is a serious concern. I didn't realize that this trade deadline is more important than I think we even realize, because we might have a completely new rotation next year based on some of the contracts that we have.
We will. Yeah. We will just in general, because we will need, unless something changes, we'll need 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think that we are going to give up somebody pretty substantial to go and get Skubal, because he's under control. He's under He's under team control to 2026. This is kind of how Elias built the Astros, with using your drafted bats and your prospects to go out and get arms instead of drafting arms. So that would shore up next year as well. Obviously, knock on wood, barring injury. So the more and more I think about it, I really think we're going to make a splash here, and I think we're going to have to give up somebody we don't want to give up to do it, but I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to have to happen.
Yeah, and I bring that up because it goes along with my first half feelings. Very pleased with where we sit, and I mean, obviously we got the 3rd best record in baseball. We lead the division by a game, but the pitching is a serious concern because of health mainly.
Yeah, I would give us. So if I'm grading this, I'm giving us B plus to A minus. It's hard to not give us an A when we're 20 games above 500 and in first place. So I'll give us an A minus with I mean, obviously Rogers and I just went over with the caveat with there's just concerns with injury. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. If you would have told me before the season we'd be 20 games above 500, but we were missing our number 2, our number 4, 5, 6 starter, and our closer, and our best bullpen arm for the last half of the first half of the season, it's been a rough go of it injury wise. Luckily, the bats, we haven't had much to worry about injury wise, but if you would have told me that before the season, I think I would be ecstatic that we were 20 games above 500, despite all of those things happening against our favor. So I agree with Brooks. I think it's hard to. I think A minus. Obviously, we wish we were in a little bit better of a spot. We didn't go on that skid at the end of the first half, but look, we're 20 games up and we're winning the division. That's all we can hope for. What do we think about the way we've handled the minor league talent, and what do you think? What do you think is the plan moving forward with that minor league talent? Do we think Holiday and Mayo? Do we think they're coming up? Do we think that somebody else is going to have to get DFA'd? Do we think those guys are going to get moved? What do you guys think about specifically Holiday, Mayo, Norby, those kind of guys that are right on the edge?
Multiple variables here. I mean, you want to see what happens at the trade deadline. Those guys get chipped out, or if we end up giving up someone in our major league system. I'm sorry, someone that's already up in the major leagues, probably a better way to word that. Then that will allow these, Mayo or Holiday to come up and immediately get, playing time without having to platoon. So there's too many variables to really give a great answer to that question. But I don't know for Dusty, I'm going to defer to you because you really follow the minor leagues more than I ever have.
I'm going to say if everything stays as is, like, let's just play how we have until the end of July, August 1st for the trade deadline. If everything stays as is, I would not be surprised to see Cowser go back down. Would not be surprised at all to see Cowser go back down and bring Stowers up to play and bring Mayo up. I mean, they want to get these guys in, and Cowser has options. So I would not be surprised to see him go down and bring Mayo up, or bring Holiday up because I think Elias said it again that he fully intends to have these guys play a major role in the second half and into the playoffs. So they're going to have to get up, and Cowser is unfortunately not swinging the bat real well at the moment. I did see that his hard hit rate, like there's no way his average should be as bad as it is, or the way he's whatever his stats are should be the way that they are with how many balls he hits hard. So, or he could be the trade piece. I don't know.
Yeah. I've thought about maybe them thinking about moving him. It feels crazy just because the start he got off to, it seemed like, okay, we found another like stud, but just because the first like month of the season, he was one of the best players in baseball flat out.
Yeah.
But it's been tough going. But like you said, if you look at the underlying statistics based on his hard hit rates, his expected batting average is much higher than what is actually shaking out on the field. And that's just one of those things where it's baseball. Look, sometimes you hit it really hard right at the right fielder or the center fielder or whatever. And those things kind of will work their way out. If you're hitting the ball hard consistently, they're going to find holes eventually. I don't know. I don't think he gets moved. I don't think he goes down. I think it's probably more likely that Mullins or Hayes or somebody else in the outfield kind of gets shuffled out, whether that be either in a trade or if nobody wants them, they get DFA'd or something like that. I obviously don't want that to happen. I love Cedric Mullins. I love Austin Hayes. Those have been our guys for the last 7 years, maybe 10 years of Orioles baseball, but it's just performance based at this point. And I can't sit through another half of the year watching Cedric Mullins hit 190. I just can't do it. And I really hope he finds it. But if he doesn't, then I think the Orioles are going to be forced to make a decision that they don't want to make. And yeah, we'll see. I like Holiday is pretty much safe. I don't think they're going to trade him for anything. I think the Tigers would be so stupid to trade Tarik Skubal. But if they want to answer the call, I don't think Holiday is the guy that we need to do to get it done. I think you can get rid of Mayo or Basayo. And those are absolute studs, top 15 prospects in baseball. So I don't say that lightly, but I don't think Holiday is getting moved for pretty much anything.
I also think here after the deadline pretty quickly, it's going to be, I think Elias is kind of like stalling a little bit just to see if somebody's going to come along and want Urias. If not, I think he's going to get DFA'd just because it's going to make room for Mayo. Really Mayo or Jackson, whichever one you want to do. So I think he's either going to get DFA'd and picked up on waiver or a waiver trade or something like that. So, or he's just going to get flat out DFA'd and released. So unfortunately, I think that's going to happen about 99%. So
when's the deadline?
31st.
When July 31st at like 6 p.m. or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll learn a lot in the next couple of weeks. I'm sure. Obviously, there's going to be.
We're going to have to learn a lot in the next couple of weeks.
We're definitely going to have to. We have a 3-game set in Arlington starting tomorrow. No Major League Baseball is being played yesterday or today. All the games will resume tomorrow. I believe every team is playing this weekend in a 3-game set against somebody. So if you're missing baseball, it's coming right back. But before we move on to our second half predictions and that kind of stuff, we're going to give some first half grades for some teams other than the Orioles. I do want to talk about the draft a little bit. Have you guys seen this switch pitcher that the Mariners drafted? His name's Jurangelo Saintshi, I think is how you pronounce it. He's got a couple J's in his last name. I may have butchered that pronunciation. But he sits around 92, but has hit 95 left-handed, and he sits around 96 right-handed, but has hit up to 99. He played at Mississippi State. Pretty freaking crazy. I've never really seen
Where-
anything like it.
Where did he get drafted? Not in the Mariners. Where in the?
First round.
Like number 14 overall. 14 or 15 overall, something like that.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Obviously, a guy like that has got to be a weapon. Pitch both-handed, but
yeah. I mean,
That could be
technically, he can pitch
Sorry,
twice a week if he's good.
yeah. I mean that could be the new like the opposite of Ohtani. You don't hit. You just pitch from both sides of the freaking plate, so you're two pitchers in one.
Yeah, it'd be nice if everybody could figure that out. One thing I did want to kind of cycle back to, because I wanted to get your opinion on it, Brian.
Yeah.
I mentioned possibly Elias said that he expects that Mayo and Jackson are going to have a major part in this team in the second half and in the playoffs. Do we think it's crazy if Colton Cowser gets sent down because he's got plenty of options?
No, not at all. I'm actually kind of surprised he hasn't been.
I think it's a conversation worth having.
I think about it a bunch actually, because we wear those Moo Man shirts at the Chaucer, and so he's kind of always in my face, not just on television, on the TIV. I'm surprised he hasn't gone down because he has not really performed. He had that hot month, I guess, early. So
yeah, and we talked about. I just want to get your opinion on it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We said his hard hit rate is like through the roof, like apparent, like wherever his hard hit rate is, his stats are not, for whatever reason, lining up. He's just getting very unlucky compared to where it should be. But again, we already touched on it, so just want to get your opinion. But we can go back to the draft stuff since Dustin might have some internet.
You can't be unlucky for 2.5 months.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
It's sorry about the internet, guys. It is absolutely pouring in Ocean City right now. So my power is kind of cutting in and out right now. So we're working through it as best we can. A couple internet issues early in the week here. Sucks. I'm really sorry about that. Top 3 picks for the Orioles: Vance Honeycutt, outfielder out of University of North Carolina. We talked about this a little bit on the pod earlier in the week. He's a right-handed hitter, right-handed thrower, center fielder for UNC. He's won 2 ACC Defensive Player of the Year awards. He's hit 25 homers in a season, 28 homers in a season. His career OPS was sitting right around 1,000 in college baseball, which is a very good number. The next guy we drafted was Griff O'Farrell, more of like a on-base batting average kind of guy. Doesn't hit a ton of home runs, not a ton of pop, but apparently he's a good infielder. He's a UVA guy, but his career batting average in college was 345. You're not coming across guys like that very often. And then we drafted a switch hitting catching prospect. He was a catcher in high school, but didn't catch at Virginia, mostly DH'd. But his batting average was 340 in college, and he had a slugging percentage over 600 twice. So we're looking at a guy who has some serious pop. And switch hitter, he has the ability to catch. I don't think he'll probably catch, but what do we got?
Well, whoever the freaking scout is for the ACC is getting a raise.
Yeah, right.
We drafted. Now, look, I'm happy about it because the ACC is a great baseball conference. But holy hell, the first 3 picks are all ACC guys.
And I think Wake had like a ridiculous amount drafted in the first couple rounds.
Oh, really?
Shit, I can't remember the number, but Wake had had a good draft.
Oh, they had 3 guys in the top 10.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And they had a guy in the 3rd round. Yeah. Good for them.
They
Good
didn't
for
have.
Wake Forest. How did they
They
do?
didn't make the
Did they make
championship.
the College World Series? Yeah, they didn't. They didn't.
Yeah, I thought they
No,
did.
I think they got bumped in regionals. But they hosted
Wow.
they hosted regionals, I believe.
It's wild.
But yeah,
Yeah.
They might have been the number 2 or 3 team in the country, and they got bumped. One of the top 4
Yeah.
teams didn't make the World Series.
That seems to always happen. As we're
Yeah.
recording, I'm watching the British Open right now. Justin Thomas shot a 68. He is in the lead at -3. -3 is not winning a lot of golf tournaments in the first round these days. So this course must be hard as shit.
Did you see the wind? It was like
Yeah, it's
25
pretty-
miles
it's pretty
an hour.
outrageous. Yeah.
They said that if
Like
you don't score in the
steady.
first 7 or 8 holes, apparently the back 9 is just absolutely brutal to play.
So this is one of those courses that's super old. So the course is 9 holes going this way and then 9 holes coming this way. So right now the front 9, it's all downwind, and the back 9 is all straight into the wind. So if you don't get it on the first 9, you're going to be struggling on the back 9 to try to make up some shots. And we saw it already. Rory McIlroy, one of the best golfers in the world, shot 78 today. Shot a 40 on the back. And we're seeing a lot of like really, really good players struggle. Ricky Fowler is also struggling. Louis Oosthuizen, who also always plays this tournament well, he's struggling. We haven't heard out of him in a while, but
where's Fleetwood?
I don't know where
plus
Fleetwood
5
is, actually.
plus 5.
Plus
Oh,
5.
great.
Yikes. How's Tom Kim doing?
Plus 5 as well.
Damn.
Yeah.
Anybody hovering around even par +1 is fine right now. Tiger's +3 through 7. That's not good news. With him coming down the difficult stretch of the back 9 to play. We got Brooks Koepka in the top couple guys, which is nice to see. We got Xander Schauffele up there, as he always is, and a couple of familiar faces, but a little newer. We got Justin Rose up there, Russell Henley, Alex Noren.
Well, Bryson.
Guys that you've probably heard about.
Bryson.
Bryson.
Nope. He did. I don't know what his number is, but it wasn't good.
Bryson shot +5 as well, 77. So yeah, a lot of championship caliber golfers really struggling to score here. We'll see what the cut line ends up being, but we'll get back to baseball just because we want to do some first half reactions, and then we're going to do some second half predictions. But the first half reactions, I want to do some awards. What do you guys think about like maybe picking MVPs for the first half, Cy Youngs for the first half, the rookies? We'll talk about some of the teams that are surprising us in positive ways and in negative ways. We'll talk obviously about the guys in our teams in our division. Blue Jays underperforming, Red Sox well overperforming. What do you guys want to talk about first? You want to do MVPs for the first half?
Yeah,
sure.
Okay, cool.
It's
first
it
half
is,
MVP
it is,
for the American League for me is Aaron Judge. For me,
you don't even really need to
Case
talk
closed.
about it because it's so ridiculous what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I know Gunner's WAR is a smidge above his, but he's carried that team the last 2 months, and especially like after the first month, he was batting under 200 with 6 home runs, and he's doing what he's number 1 in everything right now, basically. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So he's like single-handedly carrying that team.
Yeah, him and Soto have been doing a great job. I think there's obviously room if he has a rough second half or a rough stretch, or if he gets injured or anything like that. He's been prone to injury in his career. That Gunner could sneak in there. Maybe Juan Soto or Jose Ramirez could sneak in there with what Cleveland's been doing this year. But as of right now, it's Aaron Judge, and I don't really think there's a conversation. NL, it gets a little hairier. There's a lot of guys that have missed time. I think Mookie Betts would have been a clear and obvious favorite if he hadn't got hit in the hand a couple weeks ago. Christian Yelich has also been performing incredibly well, but again, he has missed 20 games. So that's going to dock his percentage. I think as of right now, Shohei Ohtani is as a DH, not pitching, is still the clear cut favorite to win the MVP in the National League, which is outrageous.
Yeah,
you guys have any different thoughts?
Nope.
It's kind of the same thing with Judge. You don't really need to say anything.
Yeah.
You can just look at the numbers, and then you can watch them in any game, and it's incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
Yep. We got nothing to add.
OPS over 1,000. Yeah. Just been outrageous. Him and Harper really have been so good. Yeah. Cy Youngs, this is where we get a little bit more interesting here. I think personally, I am an Orioles fan. I love the Orioles. I hope Corbin Burns wins this award. I have money on it. I'm telling you this right now. I think that Detroit Tigers, Tarek Skubal, who's been one of the guys we've talked about maybe potentially traded for. If you look at the numbers, he's been the best pitcher in the American League this year thus far. And this is, once again, coming from a guy who's an Oriole fan, love Corbin Burns. I've watched him pitch 15 times this year. But yeah, it's just look at the numbers. He's been a little bit better, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes. But as of now, I think it's Skubal. What do you guys think?
No need to shine a Ferrari. You took everything I was going to say. I'm not going to beat around the bush and waste people's time.
Yeah.
I'll take
Brooks?
Burns. I'll take Burns just because he means more to a pennant race right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, if we're going straight stats, which I guess the Cy Young is the best pitcher, not the MVP pitcher. So yeah, I mean, I guess Skubal. Yeah.
Yeah. Same amount of innings, 30 more strikeouts. He's given up 20 less hits. I mean, it's just he's been the better pitcher thus far. We'll see. Like Brooks said, I think voters take this into account when we get to September, October, when they're making these decisions. You will see guys who are on better teams just get picked more. And that's why Aaron Judge is such a slam dunk at the top. The Yankees are very good. They're not going away, and he's the best player in baseball right now. So you have arguments for Cy Youngs are going to be a little bit different this year.
And to be honest, their offense sucks besides him and Soto, so it's even more.
Yeah, I mean, the only outlier pitcher that won a Cy Young on a terrible team that I can, in recent memory, was DeGrom. I think he had like 8 wins, and that wasn't a COVID year.
Yeah. Yeah, he had 8 wins and probably a 1.9 ERA. Struck out 800 dudes that year or something like that. Yeah. Man, I don't know if you can hear that, but it is thundering down here in Ocean City.
I can't hear.
The National League is a little bit more interesting. We got a couple of Phillies up top, Zach Wheeler and Ranger Suarez making cases. Chris Sale is having an incredible year for Atlanta, really rejuvenating his career. He's a guy I think who's worth mentioning for sure. But as of right now, I think the clear-cut favorite to go on is going to be Zach Wheeler. But for the first half, I'll take Ranger Suarez. He was unhittable for the first 50, 60 games of the season for the Phillies. He's come back down to earth a little bit, but his numbers are still right up there with the best guys in the National League. I'm going to take Ranger Suarez for the first half, Cy Young. What do you guys think?
That was my second pick. You and I are thinking very much alike today in regards to this. In our first half reactions, I was going to say Zach Wheeler. I think he is. Ranger Suarez, I believe, has the better numbers. Zach Wheeler is 10-4 with a 2.7, 2.8. I don't know what Ranger Suarez's stat lines are.
Just a little bit better.
So they're both 10-4. One's got a 2.7 Wheeler, and one's got a 2.76 in Suarez. So they're almost exactly the same.
Yeah. So I'll take Zach Wheeler in this.
First half, I'm going to give it to Suarez on the year. My prediction is now going to Paul Skeens if he keeps up what he's doing. Because right now he looks like the best. Right now he looks like the best pitcher in baseball.
For sure.
So if he keeps it up, keeps it up the rest of the year, I think he wins it.
So I think we can just skip NL Rookie of the Year.
Nobody knows. Yeah.
No, I know no one knows,
No,
but
it's going to be Paul Skeens. Yeah,
it's going to be Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
It sucks for me.
Everyone,
By the way, $20 bet on Jackson Merrill, who is the clear-cut favorite to come in second for the NL Rookie of the Year. He's hitting like 295, playing great center field for the Padres. But Paul Skeens is just breaking baseball right now, so there's absolutely no way that cashes.
Yeah.
Yeah, American League Rookie of the Year. It gets a little bit more dicey. I obviously at this point I don't think it's going to be Colton Cowser unless he comes back to his form that he had in the early part of the season. Do you guys have any thoughts on AL Rookie of the Year as of yet or as of right now?
I think it's a no-brainer again here on this one. It's Mason Miller.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how often a reliever wins that kind of award.
It's going to be a lot. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess it is Mason Miller. Who else? Was there any other rookies from the AL that made the All-Star team? I mean, if not, then that's just first half. First half, he wins it. Really.
So, Wyatt Langford and Luis Gil Wyatt Langford is the rookie for the Texas Rangers, and Luis Gil is the pitcher for the Yankees. He's been pretty good this season. Those are the two odds-on betting favorites. Mason Miller is actually the sixth highest favorite, just DraftKings land.
On Fox,
I don't know. We'll see. Spencer Horowitz is number 10 on this list, by the way.
Spencer list. Yes, Spencer Horowitz. Yeah. I just noticed that. I'm like, holy shit.
Damn. That's pretty cool.
He's batting like 330.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Spencer Horowitz, if you guys don't know, friend of the show, St. Paul's guy.
I think it's safe to say that he's not going back down.
Yeah. I mean, look, you're hitting 330 in the bigs and you go back down. That'd be pretty brutal. That's Kyle Stauer stuff.
Best teams.
What do we think? Who do you think is the best team in the American League, the National League? They're the top couple teams. I think the Phillies' best record in baseball have probably been the best team in baseball thus far. Obviously, the numbers show it. But all year, the Phillies have been in the spotlight, straight in the middle. And then in the American League, in my opinion, it's Orioles, Yankees, Cleveland are the three best teams, clear cut. I think the rest of the teams, you kind of take a drop off after those three teams. What do you guys think about the NL, the AL, the best teams this year so far?
NL, you have to go with the Phillies. I mean, they're going to be so dangerous if they stay healthy. If that pitching staff stays healthy, they're a wrecking ball when it comes to a 5-game or 7-game series. I'm going to go reverse order of yours, Dusty, in the AL. I'm going to go Guardians, Yankees, Orioles. I think the Guardians are like a complete team. We are great. We, being the Orioles, are great offensively. But as we talked about earlier in this podcast, it's our pitching staff is terrifying. So terrifying in a bad way.
Yeah. Philly's no brainer. I mean, they're better than last year somehow. I thought they had all the tools. I thought they had everything to win it last year. Just didn't win it when it mattered, obviously. But I think first half best all around team. I'm agreeing with Brian. I think the Guardians, because their bullpen is head and shoulders better than everybody right now. Better than everybody.
Their starting rotation is
they're
their
a full
bullpen
point.
is kicking ass.
They're a full point lower ERA wise than the second best bullpen in the league, and they have not lost a game this year that they've been winning past the seventh inning, I believe. So it's hard to argue that. Bullpen means a lot. So all around, I think that's my first half best all around team.
This reminds me, their back end of their bullpen reminds me a lot of that Orioles team that had who's a submariner?
O'Day.
O'Day, and then you went to Andrew Miller, and then you went to Zach Britton. It reminds you a lot of that. I think we had something very similar that year where we didn't lose a game after the 7th inning.
Yeah. Class A, who's their closer, closed the All-Star game for the American League the other day. I had a bet on the American League, and I was thinking about cashing it out before that inning. And if Clay Holmes from the Yankees would have come in, I would have cashed it out. But as soon as I saw Class A come in, I was like, this game's over. The dude throws 101-mile-an-hour cutters. It's outrageous to watch. He's so much fun to watch. Their bullpen is crazy. They need to trade some starters, but go ahead.
How much can a ball cut at 101 miles an hour?
I don't know.
Well, they honestly, so a lot of people say between that guy and like Burns, they're like, I've never seen balls do what they do at that velocity. Is they say it about Burns too?
Yeah, they're throwing frisbees.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. It's just like it shouldn't move that much traveling that fast and that short a distance. It doesn't seem like it's possible.
Skeens, when he was on the Dan Patrick show, was talking about how he has a fastball grip that allows his ball. It's not 2-seam, 4-seam. Look, that's so common. He's got some sort of grip that he's learned where his fastball can rise and then his fastball can dip. And it's the same kind of, I don't know, the little change or something. He explained it on the DP show. That's terrifying because if you're looking at the same pitch, same velocity, but the first ball went up and then the second ball goes down, you're like, damn it, what am I going to do? Then he probably throws some kind of slider or curveball in there.
Yeah,
He's got a new pitch, the Splinker.
Splinker.
Yeah, I'd say his slider is the one that needs the improvement. But I mean, still, it's a wrinkle. He's a rookie. So
if you listen to the broadcast on the All-Star game, I was at work, so I didn't get to watch much of the game, but I did listen to it. We had the sound on. Smoltz was talking about Skeens' he said the same thing Brooks just said. He said his fastball and his off-speed stuff is pretty good, other than his slider is the thing that needs improvement, and that's something he'll develop. Obviously, he's a super young dude.
I think he might have thrown it.
Obviously, Hall of Famer. Yeah.
I think he might have thrown it twice in that first inning, and both of them spun out of the zone, like stayed up on the right-hander's box and just spun there, like never did much. So
just kind of dead spinners.
Yeah.
Smoltz also talked about how everyone is waiting for Tommy John surgery for Skeens. It's the other than how great he is, it's probably the second biggest topic that people talk about when they bring him up.
Yeah.
Smoltz said, I wouldn't worry too much about that with him because his mechanics are repeated so well every time, and his mechanics are flawless. And then he also talked about his warm-up routine, which is much different than anyone else. He wears like this bag. It looks like he's going into outer space, but it's like got weights up here, and he does this like weird swing action stuff. Yeah. And then he throws a football before he pitches to I guess I don't know what the hell that does, but
go ahead, Brooks.
I'm actually kind of pissed that I didn't do this because part of my routine in between my starts is I would long toss with a football. Okay. But I'm kind of pissed off that I didn't do it like Paul Skeens does to warm up with it. And with throwing a football, it takes a lot off your elbow and it doesn't really hurt your arm much. So pitchers have leaned into that for a while. I mean, I think the most famous one where I heard about this first and started doing it was Roger Clemens used to long toss with a football as well. Okay. So, but yeah, I'm kind of pissed I didn't think about it to warm up before a game. But also another thing I wanted to bring up with Paul Skeens, he in terms of Tommy John surgery, like we were talking about, he doesn't have nearly as much mileage because, when he was at Air Force, he was a catcher, and I think they brought him in. He might have started here and there. I don't know if he started here and there, or if he was just their closer or what. But he went there as a catcher and batted over 400. So
he was hitting over 400 as a freshman in college.
Yeah. So hopefully having a little bit less miles on his arm, maybe that'll help. But hard to say with the velocity he throws at.
What do you guys think about a pitcher home run derby?
I'm in.
I'm in.
I think CC Sabathia would have freaking dominated that for like 10 years.
I think Madison Bumgarner would have dominated it for 10 years. I know who wouldn't have dominated it. Bartolo Colon.
He's got a major league dinger. What are you talking about?
He does.
I think it's like
one of the most electric home runs in the history of baseball.
I think his helmet fell off when he swung. And he actually, I think, hit it the opposite field, if I remember correctly. So
he's got to get that belly going.
Bartolo Colon is the owner of an AL Cy Young Award. And if you go back and look at the numbers, he had like 20 wins and 3 losses, and Johan Santana had like 15 wins and 8 losses that year. And Johan Santana had like a full point lower ERA than him. It was ridiculous how they used to give out Cy Youngs. Johan should have won 3 in a row.
Well, that was when it was based on more wins and losses than it was anything.
Exactly. Which is stupid.
Bartolo Colon is the reason baseball is the best sport, and I will explain myself. That man looked like he ate hot dogs every morning and drank beer. He was a blob, and that man was a professional freaking athlete that actually had success. That's why baseball's
a lot of
what
success.
A fucking Cy Young Award. I mean, yeah.
I mean, even until like
he was ageless wonder Livan Hernandez.
I mean, kind of when he was pitching at 40 or 41 for the Mets, like his stuff was still moving like crazy. Like, granted, he was only throwing 90, 91, but I mean that shit was moving like crazy.
Yeah.
Probably all the sweat he's got from the hot dogs come running down his arm.
Yeah, what's the hot dog spider tax situation?
Yeah, that's illegal.
All right, let's talk about our biggest surprises in the first half. We'll talk positives first. I think I have the Red Sox written down and the Brewers written down. Just one team from each league. But if you have any other teams, obviously jump in. I don't understand how the Red Sox are 10 games above 500. If you look at their roster, it just doesn't really make very much sense. But Tanner Houck has turned into one of the best pitchers in the American League this year out of complete nowhere. He was the bullpen guy for most of his career, I believe. And then the Brewers traded Corbin Burns, lose Brandon Woodruff for the season. Those are their top 2 dogs for the last, 5-10 years. And all of a sudden, they're still in first place in their division. I don't get it. They just have some sort of organizational stability there that they've locked down the Central for like the last 5 years. What do you guys think? What have you seen?
I'm extremely boring today with this because I agree with everything you're saying, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse. So go ahead, Brooksy. Yeah. Those are both mine.
I mean, yeah, I got nothing. Red Sox definitely. I mean, they're the hottest team in our division right now, and they're in third place. So they have the best winning percentage since June 1st, I believe. I think it's them and the Astros, something like that.
Yeah.
So, something to be mindful of.
Yeah, and we should talk about Cleveland here too. Cleveland, obviously, we're going to give a lot of flowers to them, but they were like second or third on a lot of people's lists. A lot of people thought the Twins would run away with this division. Kansas City and Cleveland might be able to compete, but Cleveland has been so good. And good for them. Really, the whole AL Central has took a lot of people by surprise, other than the fact that the White Sox are having a historically bad season. They're 32 and a half games back at the All-Star break. Pretty fucking bad. But yeah, good for Kansas City and Minnesota, both in the AL Central, but Cleveland has been killing it.
Yeah, I think we all took Minnesota besides who took Cleveland. Brian took Cleveland. But I think we all said that we thought Minnesota and Cleveland were going to duke it out for this, and Cleveland's just running away with it.
Yeah,
at the moment. So,
Brian took Cleveland. Yeah. Brooks, you took Cleveland too.
Did I?
Yeah, me and Foy both took Minnesota.
Good for me. But I literally think we all said that we just thought it was going to be a dogfight between the two of them. So
Yeah. Negatively, we'll go in our division first. I think the Blue Jays have been clear cut the most disappointing team in baseball. They were a team that you would have thought is competing for a playoff spot, and I'm looking at the standings right now. They're 44-52, 8 games below 500. Their pitching staff has been a mess. There's been talks of them trading Vlad Guerrero and Bo Bichette. It's been kind of a mess in Toronto. You guys have any other teams you want to talk about, or do you have any thoughts on Toronto specifically?
No, Toronto's extremely disappointing. John Schneider's going to be looking for a job at the end of this year, and I said Joe Girardi will be stepping in, or a former player that's younger who's stepping in with that Blue Jays team. I hope they don't sell their core. That obviously, if they sell their core, it's good for the Orioles because they're being a complete rebuild. But
it could be bad for us if they're selling them to somebody we're playing against.
No.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the Blue Jays for me, and then it's going to be the Cubs in the National League. I mean, once again, Dusty and I on this rundown, Dusty and I think exactly alike. This is very boring. I'm sorry. I can do a dance or something somebody wants to make this more entertaining. I can put the hot dog back on. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys, or with Dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Jays have got to be it. I mean, Blue Jays
Texas.
We all knew. Well, Texas is dealing with injuries, so I give them a little bit of a pass. And it would have been Houston for me, but if they since they've kind of turned it all around since the series with the Orioles or the series before, maybe.
Yeah.
They've been red hot. Would have been them, but and the White Sox are another one. I mean, we didn't think they were going to be good. We didn't think they were going to be this bad. So, but I'll
7-71.
I'm gonna go the White Sox. I never believed the Blue Jays stuff. I know they've been kind of a topic of conversation the last 3 years probably, and they keep underperforming. But I hear it, but in my mind, I never really ever gave them a chance. To be fair, and I know they made the playoffs one year. For the National League, yeah, gotta be the Cubs, I guess.
They're in last place. I mean,
I really want to say Cincy because I didn't really expect too terribly much out of the Cubs just because they don't really have much right now in terms of players, and they've got pretty damn good starting pitching and young talent. Like they're kind of like what the Blue Jays are to everybody else to me. I keep waiting on them to like take off and thinking they're going to make a push, and they just kind of always flutter, even though that division is not that spread apart. But Cincy for me, I guess. I just really thought that they were going to put on a better showing than they have with the talent that they have. So
another team that's disappointing because it looks like they just don't want to even fight is the Angels. I didn't expect them to be this bad. I didn't expect them to be really good, but they only got 41 wins. I mean, hell, I'll tell you what. I thought Oakland would be where the White Sox are. I thought they'd have 27 wins.
I think we all did, yeah.
Yeah. I think actually Oakland has outperformed my expectations pretty drastically. I thought they were really, really bad. I do want to bring up the Braves. It's not really their fault. They lost their Cy Young favorite and their MVP favorite very early in the season in Strider and Acuna. It's really hard to make up for those kind of guys. Those are both, like 10 WAR kind of guys. Like you are losing two of the absolute best players at their position. So really tough for them, and they're still in the driver's seat for the NL wild card. Obviously, being 8.5 games below Philadelphia, it sucks for them. But they lost their two best players for the year. It's tough.
Yeah, they're not gonna catch Philly, but they're fine. Really, they just need to keep doing what they're doing and hope that their team just gets hot in the playoffs at this point, with the guys that they got, and hopefully the guys that they still got are staying healthy. I know Riley was hurt for a little while too, and their catcher's been I believe their catcher's been underperforming compared to last year.
Sean
I
Murphy.
mean, he had a ridiculous year last year, but yeah. So I just think they just got to hope, kind of just stay where they're at, make the playoffs, and hope they get hot, kind of like Texas last year.
You guys, I gotta make a quick call. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go on mute. I'll be right back.
Yep.
You're good. While Brian does this, I want to transition us from the first half stuff to the second half stuff and what we think is going to happen going down the stretch. We can start off because Brian's gone, talking a little bit more broadly, and then we'll get into our actual picks. What do you think division wise? Who are you picking? Let's just go American League first. Who are your 3 teams that are going to win the divisions in the American League? Brooks, and then we'll talk about Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP, that kind of stuff whenever Brian gets back. I can go first if you're not ready.
No, you can. Yeah, you go ahead if you're already ready to go.
Okay. So in the East, I have the Orioles. I think we're a more complete team than the Yankees, as Brian mentioned on the podcast. They're kind of Judge and Soto heavy right now. I know they're going to make moves at the deadline, but their offense really needs to be rebuilt, I think. So I think just sustainability for the Orioles is a lot easier. If we lose a couple guys, I think we're going to be able to handle it better than the Yankees can, just from a depth perspective. The Central, I have Cleveland. They've been the best team in the American League thus far this year. Their starting pitching has been pretty bad. I think they're 25th in starter ERA, but their bullpen is like Brooks mentioned, is head and shoulders above everyone else in the league, and everyone needs bullpen arms, especially at the deadline. So I'm picking Cleveland to win that division. I really wanted to take Minnesota or Kansas City. I just don't think that they're as good. And then in the West, I have Houston coming back and winning that division over Seattle. Right now they're a game back, I believe. Let me check and make sure. Yeah, they're 1 game back of Seattle. Seattle's been kind of struggling. Seattle's starting pitching is very good, so I wouldn't be surprised if they won. But I think Houston's lineup is just crazy. Without Altuve, Yordan, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, who's one of the best players in the league. He's been hurt a little bit. When he comes back, they're going to be dangerous.
Yeah, and to add on that, I know I just talked about it with Houston. They're 50-46 right now and 1 game back from Seattle, and I think at one point they were like 27-41. So they've just been on a ridiculous hot streak. Yeah, I think they come back, take over that. And Texas still has a ton of people that are coming back from injury. I wouldn't be surprised to see them finish second and Seattle finish third. Just because I don't know what the hell's going on with Seattle's offense up there. So, but yeah, I'm taking Houston, the AL West. Cleveland, I think is I don't even think it's going to be close. I think they're just going to keep running away. It doesn't seem like anybody can catch them. I know Minnesota's only 4.5 games back, but I think the difference is bigger than that. I think Baltimore makes a splash. I think we win that division. I think we do get some help. I think both starting and bullpen. Just because, again, we talked about it. I don't think we really have a choice. I think we have to for next year as well. And I'm more afraid of Boston right now with the way they're playing the last 2 months than I am the Yankees.
4.5 games back.
I know. How the hell did that happen? They were 9 games back like a week ago. It feels like. So yeah, but I mean, still, I still think the Orioles obviously win that. So.
we're getting Brian back. We'll go to the National League here and just talk real quick, and then we'll get Brian's takes on the American League here. Brian, you're rejoining us here. We just talked about our predictions for divisional winnings in the American League, and now we're moving on to the National League. In the East, I have the Phillies. I don't think it's close. You're on mute, by the way. I have the Phillies. I don't think Atlanta's going to be able to catch them. We just talked about Acuna and Strider being out for the year. That's really going to hinder them. And the Phillies, like we've said multiple times, they've been the best team in baseball. They have 3 legitimate number ones in their starting rotation, and that's going to be tough come October for anybody to beat. In the Central, I'm going with the Pirates. I think the Central is kind of a shit show right now. You could literally tell me any of these 5 teams are going to win the division, and I believe you. But I'm going with the Pirates. Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, Brian Reynolds is having a good year again. They're fun to watch, and they're a young team. So I'm going to pick them to win the division. And I think before the season, I was on the Reds, and I don't really believe in the Reds very much at this point. So yeah, I don't know. That division's really confusing, and I don't really know what's going on. And then I have the Dodgers in the West. Arizona's been pretty disappointing. We could have talked about them in the biggest disappointments thus far this year. The Padres have been dealing with crazy amount of injuries. Tatis is out for a while. They've lost Darvish now for a little bit. So they're struggling to keep guys on the field. I think the Dodgers are the clear-cut winner of that division. What do you guys think?
I'm going to go with you on the Phillies. Duh. I mean, once again, not going to beat a dead horse here. These aren't cop-out answers. They're just so glaring. I'm actually going to go with the Brewers. And the only reason I say the Brewers, and I'm not going to go through specific people, they just have a resiliency about them. That whole team, even last year, they had a resiliency. We talked about how they no longer have Corbin Burns, and they're still right there. But I do like Pittsburgh. Yeah, and they lost their manager. And that might have put a bug up their ass. So
it went to their division rival too. So
yeah. So I do like Pittsburgh though. Watch out for Pittsburgh. That was going to be it was between Milwaukee and Pittsburgh for me. And then the Dodgers. I mean, they had everybody. And why do I feel like they're going to make some sort of fucking splash in the trade deadline like they did last year? Didn't they get like last now or something?
No, they got him in the off season, but but yeah, I mean they've got too much money to play with. They don't give a shit about the luxury tax. All they care about is winning. So yeah, I'm with you. Dodgers are gonna run away with it. I'm sure they'll pick somebody else up. They always do. Phillies are gonna run away with it just because Atlanta can't. Atlanta's not healthy enough to catch them, but Atlanta could get hot in the playoffs and maybe unseat them in the playoffs. That's about it for that. And the Central, like you said, is a shit show. You could go with literally any of these teams. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh just because I want to watch Paul Skeens pitch in the playoffs. So that's just more of me being a little bit biased, and I'm rooting for Pittsburgh at this point to hopefully come back and win that division.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
my American League, I'm going to go the Yankees, unfortunately. The pitching for the Orioles is just continuously disintegrated. I could change this pick based on what we do with the trade deadline. The Cleveland Guardians, who I said I think are the best team in the American League, I will take in the Central. And then I'm going to take the Houston Astros. They are just really hot.
Look at you. We're all in agreement on the American League, except for the Orioles-Yankees pick. We both took the Orioles over the Yankees. But Guardians and Houston, I guess, I don't know. I want to see those Houston division odds. I wonder what they are. I wish I could have gotten in on that like
a month ago. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hindsight's 20/20, obviously. All right, so now we'll talk about our predictions. Who is going to win the awards? This is not our first half prediction. This is our full season prediction. Who is going to take home the Rookie of the Year, the Cy Young, the MVP, and who's going to go to the World Series? For the AL Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Brian. Brian's pick for the first half. I'm going to take Mason Miller. I think he's going to continue to dominate. I think he's going to get moved at the deadline. If he gets moved to the National League, he is going to be ineligible to win the American League Rookie of the Year award. But I think he's going to get moved. He's going to go to a contender. He's going to get a lot more eyeballs on him, and he's just a complete stud. And I don't think any of the bats on the rookie side of the American League side of the rookies, I don't think any of the bats have been that outstanding where we're going to have to talk about them over Mason Miller. So that's who I'm going to go with.
Yep, I'm in agreement.
Brooks?
Yeah, I'll be in agreement, even though I want to go with somebody else possibly. But if I go with somebody else, that's bad for the Orioles. So I'm going to go with Mason Miller.
Heel.
Hey, Mason Miller could be an Oriole. That would be sick.
That would be sick. Yeah.
All right, Cy Young, American League. As of right now, it's Tarek Skubal. But like Brooks said, we are a team that is competing in Baltimore. I don't think Corbin Burns is going to go anywhere. I'm taking Corbin Burns. I think he's going to win this award. I think he's going to be the most consistent guy. I think he had I don't know how many quality starts in a row to start the season, but it was something in the double digits. Just super consistent, really good performances, and he's going to be on a team that's competing down the stretch.
I hate it. People are going to think this is just a pure cop-out podcast for me because you just take everything out of my mouth. So it's I'm thinking Corbin Burns.
I am going to go Skubal just because my kind of what I'm thinking now is that we're in a pretty good running to get him for the Orioles. And I think if he comes here, it's just going to amplify what he's already doing. I think he's just going to keep doing what he's doing, maybe even better. Hopefully, knock on wood. So that's who I'm going to go with. I don't think Skubal stays where he's at. I think somebody's going to give up some names to get him. And I'm hoping it's the Orioles. And the more and more I think about it, the more I think it's going to be the Orioles.
Yeah. I think, once again, I'll reiterate, I think Detroit would be absolutely insane to trade him. But if we throw enough names at him, maybe they'll start considering it. I also want to mention Logan Gilbert in Seattle. He's having such a good year. If Seattle can right the ship offensively and get into contention down the stretch and, kind of run away with that division, I think he could be a guy that emerges. But yeah, I think as of now, it's Burns. ALMP, barring injury, it's Aaron Judge. I think it's clear cut, like we said, for the first half award part of this podcast. I think Aaron Judge has been the best player in the American League. He's been the best player in baseball this year. So
I'm going to go Gunnar Henderson on this one. Reason being, and I don't want anyone ever to get hurt, even though he's a Yankee. I just think something's going to come up that he'll have a toe problem like he had was that last year or 2 years ago. I think something's going to happen to him where he's going to have to take a month off. That'll allow Gunnar to pop in there.
Yeah, I'm going to go Judge too, just because I think he's either won it or come in the top three the last freaking 4 or 5 years, it seems like. So I just think smart money's on him. But we'll see. Hopefully Gunnar does, but my intuition tells me Judge is probably gonna bring it home.
Look, if Gunnar hits 50 home runs and comes second in MVP voting, that would be pretty nuts. But look, Judge has got 34 at the All-Star break, and he's just continuously breaking his own records. It's crazy. It's
going to be the Ohtani and Judge showdown from 2022 or whatever. It's going to be like both of them deserve it, but one's going to miss it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, no, that year, because Ohtani was in the American League, they both couldn't win it, but now they can both win it because he's in the National. So.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah, it's gonna be like that year.
Oh, okay.
Between Judge and Gunnar.
The next couple guys after Judge and Gunnar in the odds makers' eyes are Juan Soto at 15-1, Bobby Witt at 20-1, and Jose Ramirez at 30-1. All of those guys having incredible seasons, but obviously Judge and Henderson are kind of outpacing everyone right now. So just guys I wanted to mention. For National League Rookie of the Year, we're going to move on to the National League now. The overwhelming favorite is Paul Skeens. I think, barring injury, he is going to win. After that, it's pretty much Jackson Merrill or bust. So rooting for Jackson Merrill, Severna Park kid, but I think Paul Skeens is clear cut here.
Yeah, we can move on. We're all going to take him.
Oh, hey, going back to biggest disappointments or negatives, just going back real quick, Corbin Carroll, where did you go?
Yeah, terrible. He's been horrible this year.
He got hurt for a little while, didn't he?
I don't know.
That I don't know. But if you look at his numbers, they're pretty staggeringly bad for a guy who almost won MVP as a rookie last year.
Yeah.
But
I just thought about it out of the left field.
Yeah, for sure. Something you definitely need to mention because he's been terrible. I'm pulling his numbers up now, but my internet is no fun right now. So we'll go to NL Cy Young. Brooks, I think, wants to take Paul Skeens here. As of right now, the betting favorite is Chris Sale at plus 140. Zach Wheeler's right behind him, and then Paul Skeens, Ranger Suarez, Logan Webb. I'm going to take Zach Wheeler in the same vein I took Corbin Burns. He's on a really good team. He's the model of consistency. He's been a very good pitcher for a long time. I don't think he has a Cy Young award, despite the fact that he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball over the last couple years. So I'm going to take Zach Wheeler.
Just skip me.
I'm scared. I said it. I said it in my mid-year pick with when I picked Ranger. I think Skeens does end up winning the Cy Young this year if he keeps the base that he's on. So,
do you think baseball wants Skeens to win the award because
hell yeah?
I think that could be a deciding factor. Like because the baseball writers love a good story. And let's just say this: while Zach Wheeler and Ranger Suarez are great pitchers, they don't move the damn needle. And Skeens does.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Power couple, part of a new wave of baseball, and just the biggest story in baseball as of right now, other than Ohtani and Judge. So yeah, for sure. I think
that is probably the deciding factor. If he stays healthy and he doesn't get put on a pitch count, I think Skeens ends up winning it. Actually, I didn't think about that till right now because those writers, they want a good story. They want the sport to thrive because for a long time, Mike Trout, while he was the best player in baseball, he wasn't going on social media, which is the new. I'm not even calling it the new wave. You just need to do it now in order to promote the game and promote yourself. Skeens does that.
I don't think he does.
Well, I know he goes on talk shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, he is, but he doesn't. He's not really on. He's the only reason he's on social media is that his girlfriend puts him on there.
But how about this? He was on McAfee a bunch, and he's doing some sports talk shows. I mean, Mike Trout. he lived in a cave.
Yeah, I guess. Skeens went on McAfee because he was pitching here in the city, and he's a Pittsburgh, and they're Pittsburgh guys, so
yeah,
that was just kind of a natural fit. But yeah, he's relatively like disconnected, if that makes sense. He kind of does this like. He's kind of just like super focused on baseball, it seems like. But yeah, like you said, if he's going to show up on Livy Dunn stuff, who's all over the internet and a huge internet person, that's it's inherently going to follow him. So,
Dustin, we were just to recap real fast. We were talking about how Skeens, he does. He's a power couple with Livy. I don't know, was it Livy Dunn, whatever her name is?
Yeah. Library.
And then he was on he was on the McAfee show for I think a number of times because twice out there in Indianapolis at the time. Yeah. He's on the Dan Patrick show. He does talk shows. He's out there. I think that's going to be the push that gets him over. But
Yeah.
I do think Zach Wheeler will have the better numbers throughout the duration of the year because he's going to pitch the entire year, barring injury.
Yeah. And those counting numbers are going to be important at the end of the year. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of arguments. But look, if Paul Skeens continues to do what he did in the first half in his limited appearances, it's going to be a conversation because the dude is, once again, he's breaking baseball statistics and analytics. It's been really awesome. For the National League MVP, I'm just to be different here, I'm going to take Bryce Harper. Best team in baseball, and he's been lights out this year. He did have a little 10-day stint on the DL, but he's hitting over 300. He's got a ton of bombs. He's hitting right in the middle of the best order in baseball right now. So I'm going to take him.
I'm going to take the LA Police Department for getting rid of Shohei Ohtani's interpreter and allowing him, translator, to have him have a stellar freaking year and win the National League MVP. So, LA Police Department, you win.
That's probably FBI, Brian.
Okay, man. I didn't know we had Wyatt Earp on the damn podcast.
But yeah, I'm in agreement with you. So I'm Ohtani. The guy's.
Yeah. He's got a legitimate chance to win the Triple Crown this year, and he's also got 21 stolen bases. Or 23 stolen bases. Sorry, he's only been caught 3 times. 23 out of 26. So just a freak.
A lot of double steals.
Yeah, just a freak. Yeah. All right, World Series matchups before the season. My World Series matchup was Braves over Astros. I am in drastically different mode right now. I do think the Astros are going to make a late season push, and they will be there in October. I'm going to take Phillies over Orioles. Best team in the National League, best team in the American League, or one of the best teams in the American League. I think Cleveland's starting pitching is going to be their downfall in the playoffs. So give me the Phillies and the Orioles. That would be amazing if that happened. And I really hope the Orioles can pull that out, but Phillies have been the better team this year.
I'll tell you what, traffic on 95 be pretty shitty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What did I have, Dusty?
Brian, you had the Braves over the Orioles for your
so
preseason pick.
Obviously, given the loss of 2 studs from the Braves, I'm going to have to change my NL pick. I will take the Phillies. I think they're the best team in baseball. And then I am going to go with, unfortunately, the New York Yankees.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know who their coach is, Brian?
I know. I'm eating my words right now. I wasn't going to say
You really don't think the Orioles are going to do anything to improve?
The pitching just scares me that much. That's my honest opinion. It's nothing against the hitters. It's the pitching. It scares the hell out of me.
Even if they go get people?
See, if they go get people, then it changes everything. That's why the trade deadline, we could really redo this after the trade deadline.
Well, I'm
100%.
picking based on, because I don't think we have anything but I don't think we have a choice but to go get somebody. So
Somebody.
That's why I'm saying I think the Orioles end up winning the division, because as of right now, I don't think they would.
Mm-hmm.
I think they get caught. But I'm picking based on I think we go make moves. So I'm with Dustin. I mean, it's hard to pick against the Phillies because they are the best team. And I thought that they were going to win it last year.
Last 2 years.
Last 2 years, really. Yeah. So I got to go Phillies again, and I think the Phillies over the Orioles. But I mean, we'll see. Like I said, this is why these are crazy to do. But as of right now, and what I think is going to happen, I just don't see a hole in the Phillies unless people get injured.
Yeah. So
Trey Turner's back,
and he's kicking ass, too.
Killing it. So, yep.
I'll go. I will go the Philadelphia Phillies over the New York Yankees. Once again, this all changes. I don't disagree with what Brooks said, but if you ask me right now, like you are,
fair,
I'm giving you my answer.
Fair. So I'm like I'm Phillies over Orioles. I could definitely see Orioles in LA. I could definitely see Houston because they're hot as hell right now.
Mhm.
Could see Cleveland if they improve that pitching staff.
Yeah, but I just don't see them going out and doing much, and I don't think they have much to compete if the Orioles are going to be the ones that want to compete for whoever. They're both going to be going after the same people. So
Doesn't it feel really good to be able to say that?
Right.
That we have the horses now to go get people. It used to be we had trash.
Dude, our best player was Rio Ruiz.
I mean, the only thing that we could offer was future draft picks.
Yeah. They just started letting Major League Baseball teams trade their draft picks, by the way. That's a new thing. Remember in the Corbin Burns deal with DL Hall and Joey Ortiz, we gave up the number 34 overall pick. That's a very new thing in baseball. That has never been a thing before.
What?
It's always been prospects. Yeah, it's very
I just thought it was that that teams didn't trade. Just like the NFL used to not have a lot of trades back like I'm going to say 10 years ago. Now they have a lot more trades. So I didn't know you couldn't do it.
So you can only trade competitive balance picks. You can't trade your actual draft picks. Once again, that's a pretty recent thing. I think that might change, but
it used to be just comp picks, right? Is that right?
That's the same thing.
Yeah. So now, but now there's so many picks. Like the Orioles get picks for. I think there's one called like player promotion incentive where you get picks towards the top. And just basically like if you home grow your talent, you get benefits from it. And luckily the Orioles have been doing that.
Yeah, and the 34th overall pick that we shipped out was for Gunnar winning Rookie of the Year, I believe. We got that.
Yes.
For that.
Yeah. This stems from the Chris Bryant stuff when the Cubs wouldn't bring him up because they wouldn't start his major league clock.
Yeah.
So
which is total bullshit.
Total bullshit. I'm glad that brought light to it though.
Yeah.
So.
I remember Boris was pissed. Boris was shouting at the mountaintops.
Yeah. And look, the dude won MVP. Like he won Rookie of the Year, I believe. Like he was one of the best players in baseball for those couple of years. Like he's struggling now and he's in Colorado. He doesn't play very much anymore, but yeah.
I was going to pick the go ahead, Dusty. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going. You go ahead. I got nothing.
I was going to take the Dodgers over the Phillies, but they just have a propensity to shit themselves.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I agree, but I could also see them going to spend a shit ton of money to go get somebody. So
yeah.
Look, when Mookie comes back, the top of their lineup with Freeman, Mookie, and Ohtani is just outrageous. I mean, those are three legitimate MVP contenders. If they go out and trade for an arm, if somehow Max Scherzer's available at the deadline and wants to go back to LA to try to win another championship, I mean, that's a scary ass team for sure. But Philly, the best team all year. Like we've said, they have the horses. They have three legitimate aces on that team. They are built for a 7-game series. They are built for October.
Yep. Yes. I agree with their bullpen as well.
Yep.
What's kind of fun that's going to be fun coming up here, like you think about it, it's July 18th right now. We have 2 weeks to the trade deadline. So shit's going to start popping off here and then real soon.
Yeah.
And it could be when we're all together in Baltimore. So we might have a shit ton to talk about while we're there. Which could
bring Fuji back.
Could be a lot of fun. So.
I wore my Fuji shirt yesterday.
What is he doing right now?
Playing for like the Lancaster Barnstormers or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that or is in the KBO.
Shintaro Fujinami is
Shintaro.
He is on a rehab assignment for the New York Mets. His career ERA is 7.1.
I do think Wei-Yin Chen is definitely in that league with the Lancaster Barnstormers. That's why
is he actually?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
Good for Wei-Yin Chen. Love that guy.
Another that's a shame. This stupid list that ESPN's putting out of the top 100.
Yeah, we should talk about this.
What is it?
Like there's first of all, they're putting out lists for like quarterbacks, which is stupid in general as well. But they're putting out lists of like the top 100 athletes, and this is not for one sport. This is for everything.
Everything.
Oh, okay.
So you're fighting
okay.
you're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah,
You're gonna
I'm looking at this right now.
no matter what you pick here, whoever's doing the picking, you're not gonna be right. It doesn't matter.
Dusty, it's going to piss you off. It's going to make you upset.
I just saw Tom Brady at number 5, so I'm just going to stop looking now.
I think Ed Reed was number 99.
There's a four-time NFL MVP on there that's number 91.
Tiger Woods, number 8. That makes sense.
So, I mean, it's a losing. Whoever made this idea and put it into production and gave it to somebody to do this, they knew that this is a losing battle.
Yeah.
But McAfee has been going off on ESPN about this to the point where I think ESPN has told him to like chill out with it. But he's still like, he's basically mentioned it in yesterday's show, I believe. Like,
yeah.
People have told me to basically cool it on this from some of my co-workers, but I mean, this is bad. It goes, and to be honest with you, my name falls under this as well because our show is licensed by ESPN and it's ESPN's top 100 list, and he has been fucking hammering it. He is.
Yeah. His main thing is he says he's been hearing from other ESPN talent, like, can you let people know it's not all of us that made this list? It's probably like 5 schmoes in a room who, are just making, stupid lists because it's a dead time in sports other than baseball.
Yeah.
So it's just, it pisses you. I look at the, like,
and he keeps going
50 to 70. And I just stopped. I was like, I wanted to break my own phone.
And he keeps going, okay, well, how about we name who made the list? He just keeps saying, who made the list, ESPN? Who made the list?
Yeah.
He's not letting it go.
Man.
He is
Albert
not letting it go.
Pujols has 700 home runs, and he's number 25. Okay.
Like I said, it's whoever. Actually, I think he needs to start saying who thought about this list and then put it into production that people pick it. Whoever that production manager is, say his name, because this was a losing battle from the beginning, from the idea.
Yeah. All right. I don't have anything else on the rundown. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap it up today?
I'm looking forward to the second half of the season. I know you guys are coming out on the 28th or 29th.
Yep. Just so everybody knows, we are doing a full barn live show with all of our hosts together for the first time ever in Baltimore. July 30th, I believe, is the date we're actually doing it. We will be coming live from the Ryan Ripken Studios in Baltimore. So stay tuned for that. We should have some cool stuff happening with that. Hopefully we can plan something with them to do kind of like a collab with them. We'll see how schedules end up working out. We'll also have a live special guests in studio for that show. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So
yep.
Absolutely. Ned, we'll be back next week. Same time, hopefully Monday or Tuesday, we'll be back on. I'm not sure if we'll do 1 or 2 next week, but stay up to date. Like I said, I've said a couple times, if you have any questions, if you're this part in the podcast and you're watching still, if you have any questions for us, shoot them up to us. It's good content for us, and it's a good way for you to stay connected to us. Appreciate y'all listening if you are, and if you aren't, that's okay too.
Yep. Appreciate you guys. Love you. See you soon.
See you later, Huckleberries.
Cheers.
Yep.